Certainly one of the words, and we'll speak more about this, I'm sure, that is now really entered into the vocabulary, which I think is really important, is the concept of resiliency.
You know, I was just having a conversation this morning about the word resiliency, and the people at the table were quite mixed about whether or not it's yet the next word that we're going to throw under the bus by overusing it. And understanding it, passive survivability is something that has not been a criteria of our work. It needs to be a criteria of our work. I don't think we understand it well, so I think if we spend more time figuring out what we want resilient to mean and be for us, we will do a lot better.
There has to be a continual process of engaging in relationship. So the design process is the beginning of a permanent, evolving interrelationship between the people in a building, and the community they're part of, and the watershed that they're part of.
And so it becomes a conversation in design about not just the buildings, but the infrastructure, about gardens, about food supply, about energy, about water, about the basics of life, but also creating a place that creates a resilient spirit and keeps the culture alive.
I think we're hard-pressed at this point in time to point to many examples of resiliency in our current built environment, and certainly our recent experience on the East Coast made that very apparent to everyone.
We're in a conversation with one of the branches of the military right now that is doing a lot of work on disaster preparedness and also energy systems and such. And what they're finding is you can take the mindset of, I'm going to prepare for each disaster, I'm going to prepare for each event, I'm going to harden this, I'm going to harden that, I'm going to do this system, I'm going to do that system. The failure modes are always the ones that you don't predict. So resiliency is saying, we know that we're going to have failures, we know things are going to come apart. How does that happen gracefully? And how do we recover? We're not going to recover to the exact same first state, we're going to recover to a different state, but hopefully that's a better condition than where we were.
So a resilient city like New York, or New Orleans, will not be dependent on pumps, will not be dependent on a seawall. I mean, obviously if New Orleans had the swamps around it still, we wouldn't be having the problems we're having today.
You know, resiliency is the thing about the human spirit. Resiliency doesn't have to be about doom and boom, right? You can think about resilient, vibrant people, you know, people who've survived incredible things and people who've had amazing experiences and then overcome them, and how those people come out on the other end. And those people wind up being inspirations for all of us. So a conversation about resiliency is, in many ways, one of the most hopeful conversations you could possibly have.